A demon falls in love with the most innocent angel in the school. A stunning woman captures the attention of a young man with her blonde, shining hair. Her red eyes convey certain disinterest. Her nose is thin and well-shaped, and her lips are the color of a cherry blossom. And it was in that moment that the young man realized once and for all that something was about to change their lives forever. It's May, where classmates gossip that a transfer student is arriving at school today. The girls are hopeful that the guy is handsome, while the boys find it strange that this is happening in the middle of the school year. Thus, the principal summons Masatora Akutsu to the classroom, and with tears in his eyes, he witnesses the class's astonishment as they lay eyes on the new guy who, despite being 16 years old, looks like a Dragon Ball Frieza who has been working in a warehouse for 25 years. Aware of the new student's condition, the principal explains that he didn't like having his head shaved and, by mistake, used his father's hair removal cream, thinking it was a hair tonic. As a fellow sufferer of baldness, the principal empathizes with the young man's plight. Next, he asks Akutsu to introduce himself, and with the confidence of an abandoned baby rat, he says, with the rhythmic cadence of death, that his hobby is strolling through pharmacies, and his favorite words are hair follicle. Finally, he vents that his recent days haven't been easy, but he hopes to make beautiful memories with everyone present. At this moment, the room becomes a sob fest followed by applause, and while all the students shout words of encouragement to the boy, inside he laughs at how pathetic humans are since none of them uncovered such a ridiculous lie. However, at that moment, the principal sees a tag coming out of the boy's head and pulls it without thinking, causing a wig to fall to the ground. Thus, the real Akutsu appears as if nothing had happened, conducted by an angelic background symphony, while the principal chides him for pulling a fast one on him. Seeing this aggressive reaction, Akutsu explains that his hair miraculously grew, and he plucks several tufts of hair to feign confusion, cursing his hair follicles, and the room glitches with that situation. However, soon the spirits calm down and the school official asks the class to treat their new classmate well. When pointed to his seat in the room, Akutsu walks to the chair while being absolutely certain that no one suspects his true identity. In the midst of this, he is enchanted by the cuteness of a girl in the background, never imagining that a human could be so beautiful. In response to admiring looks, the girl returns a slight smile, causing Akutsu to awaken the bittersweet emotion of passion in his chest. With this, he loses rationality and control over his body, ending the journey to his seat with a broken neck style. Hours later, the boy is still distraught, and without taking his eyes off his beloved, he imagines how perfect his life would be if he had such an innocent and lovable creature by his side. He goes further, fantasizing in his head moments together with his beloved, like gaming in the dead of night, where she finally feels ready for other things. These fantasies evoke intense emotions in the young man, but he figures he can't just approach the girl outright since they barely know each other, and that could end up pushing her away. At this moment, another guy approaches the girl, calling her Lily and commenting on the pleasant breeze in this early spring. This romantic atmosphere always makes him think of her. Therefore, it would be great if they started dating. However, Lily uses her cattle scare ability, deflecting all the poor guy's advances. He panics and pleads for her to at least consider the proposal. Witnessing this humiliation, Yuba Tanagawa introduces himself to the new student and apologizes for the trouble the emotional guy, Hirota, is causing. He explains that Hirota has always been like this, declaring his love for any cute girl he encounters along the way, but lately, he seems a bit obsessed with Lily. And speaking of the devil, Hirota joins the group, mentioning that he got kicked out again, and everyone heads to the hallway to catch up. Outside, Hirota talks about how Akutsu's presentation scared the class a bit, but anything he wants to know, just ask. Seizing the opportunity, Akutsu asks who the blonde girl at the back of the room is. Hirota explains that she's Lilia Main, and she transferred to this school just before Akutsu. She's a Japanese mixed race and a Kikoku Shijo, Japanese who have always studied abroad until returning. Inside, Lily accepts a friend's invitation to prepare for today's piano exam, while Akutsu can't help but think about how short, cute, intelligent, and with a great personality she is, almost like more than human. Hearing this, Hirota raises his finger and suggests that Akutsu meant to say she looks like an angel. However, just hearing that word, the new student shows strong irritation, surprising his new friends. But as Akutsu is fascinated by the blonde girl, Hirota makes it clear that he will need to tank this decision since he himself has been kicked 5 times. In the first few attempts, he tried to ask calmly and politely, but as he was rejected, he started to appeal desperately, literally begging the girl to be with him. The problem is that he doesn't give up and continues humiliating himself for her attention. Therefore, the man with an unstoppable libido tries to approach Lily again, while Tanagawa holds him back, and Akutsu is impressed by how Lilia Main arouses people around her. Over time, the protagonist is heading home, devising a plan to get closer to his crush until fate makes them bump into each other on some random corner. The girl came out of a dark alley, saying she got lost and ran into Akutsu. He realizes that this is a great opportunity to talk to her for the first time, so frying his brain to think of what to say, he says hi and mentions that his name is Akatsu. He immediately curses himself inside since it's obvious that the girl already knows that, but she finds the guy's attitude amusing and introduces herself, extending her hand to him. During the greeting, Akatsu notices that Lily's sleeve is torn, and when he mentions it, Amain becomes extremely uncomfortable and tries to avoid the subject until she emphasizes that their meeting this way was fate's doing, and only that cool tea could celebrate this event properly. The sweet words of his beloved hit his heart hard, but he keeps his focus and accepts the invitation with an experienced pose. Soon, the two are walking together, and after discovering that both their parents live abroad, Lily comments on how difficult it must be for a man to live alone, as dishes don't wash themselves and no washing machine usually picks up clothes from the room. But Akatsu is a functional guy and claims he takes care of all the household chores, so Lily makes it clear that any day he could invite her to prove he's telling the truth. The girl gets distracted, crosses the street without looking properly, until a truck speeds by and threatens to run her over. Trying to save Lily, Akatsu's eyes morph into a demonic expression and he stops the truck with the strength of his muscles, leaving Lily frightened by the marks on Akatsu's face. However, inexplicably, at that moment she lets out a brief smile. Around the accident, people begin to gather and call an ambulance, but instead of staying there, Lily pulls her friend by the arm and takes him away. In a late afternoon square, he says the pain in his shoulder is gone and Lily apologizes for causing all this confusion. As the boy replies that she didn't need to worry about it, Lily feels confident enough to ask who Akatsu really is because he stopped a truck with his shoulder and those ears and eyes aren't exactly human. At that moment, Akatsu enters a cosmic hell for having slipped up and revealed his identity so soon, but as the girl didn't seem to be reacting negatively to the possibility that he's not human, he decides that maybe he can share a secret or two. So he transforms part of his body and claims to be a demon who ended up in the human world because hell is losing a war against the angels. To try to reverse the situation, Akatsu's superior decided to appoint a charismatic leader to motivate the forces of hell, and Akatsu is responsible for trying to find this leader who will turn the game around. However, he hasn't found this leadership figure yet, but he would like Lily Amain to help him on this mission, occasionally descending to hell to accompany him in this search. Even though Lily is a bit scared to know that demons really exist, she saw that Akatsu, despite being one, could also be kind enough to save her life. Still, she doesn't know how she could help as she doesn't have anything special, and maybe the people on the other side would get angry with her for some reason. Akatsu tries to convince the girl that it has nothing to do with it, that no one could get angry with someone as lovely as her. At that moment, Lily justifies her reasoning by immobilizing the boy with a magical chain, surprising him. Astounded, he asks who this girl really is, and after mocking the fact that the guy thought he could seduce her, Lily Amain releases her wings and reveals herself to be a servant of heaven, an angel. She continues to mock the demon, explaining how foolish she was to invite an enemy to hell without even realizing it. Akatsu tries to free himself from the chains, but the angel tells the boy to forget it, as these chains were manifested by her and few angels have the talent. She has to create objects as resistant as she can. Nervous for having faced two demons in one day, she decides to poke the boy's eye with her finger as a form of torture. He doesn't understand why she mentioned two demons, so she explains that the tear in her sleeve was made by the demon she was defeating in the alley before meeting Akatsu. She let her guard down thinking the enemy couldn't touch her. But as he ruined Lily's clothes, she decided to humiliate the demon before exorcising him slowly. Speaking of which, now she needs to decide how to exorcise Akatsu. On the other hand, the young demon doesn't feel ashamed of being defeated by an enemy in a war. After all, he had the same intention as Lily. But as she humiliated one of his compatriots, and angels are known for acting in this cowardly way, Akatsu is willing to put this stupid angel in his place. He tears off the chains and prepares to teach Lily not to underestimate demons. Although he demonstrated strength by freeing himself, Akatsu's attacks didn't seem enough to hit Lily, as the angel could easily dodge all the attacks without much effort. Finally, still without a drop of sweat, she chains the enemy once again, but acknowledges that Akatsu is a level above the common demons she eliminated, so it will be a pity to exorcise someone like him. From this, Akatsu realized he had no way out, and as Lily summons a giant magical scythe, she asks the demon if he prefers to be erased now or if he reveals hell's plans and leaves alive. As the boy doesn't believe the angel will spare his life, she raises the scythe to exorcise the opponent. But when he opens his eyes again, Lily had changed her mind. Instead of finishing off the demon right there, she will keep the devil under her supervision and force him to collaborate with her work. If he agrees, he gets a special collar made by Amain herself. But the stubborn one still resists and asks why the girl wants to keep him as a doormat. She uses her charm again and responds that it's all to keep them close. Jokes aside, she explains that she will need him to get what she wants. She can't disclose all the details, but if he accepts, he'll be set free. Angels cannot lie, but it's up to the guy to trust her or not. In the worst-case scenario, he'll be lying on the ground until some ill-intentioned person takes a photo of him and shares it with the world. With that, he finally decides to cooperate, but before releasing the devil, she shows that the collar talk wasn't a lie and tries to collar the guy, who resists like an angry pincher. He begs for mercy, but Lily makes it clear that she doesn't have mercy. She wraps the accessory around Akatsu's neck and threads the buckle through the hole, leaving the guy in a strange threshold between terror and satisfaction. Finally, Akatsu was under the control of the angel and couldn't return to hell as long as he was affected by the collar's effect. Therefore, Lily explains that Akatsu's role with his collar is to hunt other demons, which angers the boy as he has to pursue beings of his own kind. Lily finds it ironic that demons have a sense of camaraderie, but Akatsu reveals that they have a society with their own rules and not everyone would betray those who have done good to them. However, despite this discourse of civility, Lily was ignoring the boy and complaining about split ends in her hair. This audacity drives the kid crazy with rage, but when he tries to remove his collar, the angel reveals that only she can take the accessory off his neck, and she suppresses Akatsu's demonic powers. Moreover, she discloses his location in case he tries to escape and allows her to control his movements. Therefore, if the demon refuses to cooperate, she can punish him however she wants. Using this control over Akatsu's body, the angel makes the demon perform a ridiculous act, apologizing for the delay in understanding her demands. Inside, Akatsu is burning with anger, but that doesn't stop his body from bowing to the girl and even fetching water to quench her thirst. Later, Lily is already using the boy as a servant and perhaps feeling bad for being treated like a queen for nothing. She offers some retribution to the demon, asking if he wants anything. Promptly, the boy crouches in a quadruped position and mentions how his body aches from all this servitude. Lily asks if he wants a massage on his backside and can't express it properly, but Akatsu replies that just a step of her foot would be more than enough. With this news, Akatsu is screaming internally within his enslaved body. To seize the opportunity, Lily comments on how this peculiar desire is typical of demons, so she promises to fulfill the young man's wish. However, as she was practically about to step on him, she starts questioning if all of this is right and if the strange tastes of that demon will escalate into madness, leading her angelic delicacy down an irreversible path. Despite everything, before any stepping occurs, a guard tries to stop the two minors who are engaging in improper acts in the middle of a public square, and they react by swiftly escaping. After evading the officer, Lily takes the chance to ask Akatsu once again if he still insists on not helping, especially after the commotion he caused in the square, warning him that next time she may worsen the punishments, even making him repeat that position without clothes. But Akatsu stands his ground and tells the angel to exorcise him already, but as much as she would love to, she still needs the demon for some personal plans. Therefore, Akatsu needs to think again and decide whether to cooperate or suffer the consequences. This final proposal makes the demon notice the girl's ability to say such horrible things with that cute face, so he decides to give in a bit to Lily, offering to disclose the location of any nearby demon since they can sense the presence of their kind. Lily accepts but shows the young man what will happen if he doesn't do it right. With this, Akatsu apologizes to his fellow demons and inwardly begs that no demon dares to set foot on Earth for a while. Therefore, Lily declares Akatsu as her servant, but not without any reward. Since he is providing services to an angel, Lily promises to reform the demon into a righteous, honest, and kind being. As Akatsu is not very excited about this prize, the angel rethinks what every young person reaching adulthood would like to receive, offering a hug for each mission accomplished by the demon. He freaks out and calls Lily a curse, and she quickly backs off, saying she was joking and can't believe how this pervert believes she was serious. But since Akatsu doesn't want anything at all, Lily decides to think about payment later. At that moment, the guard finally catches up with them, and the escape continues until definitively losing the pursuer. Later that day, Akatsu is exhausted from the strenuous day and falls on his bed, thinking about how the first day of school was a disaster, with that cursed angel and her collar nonsense. But speaking of it, Akatsu notices that the accessory had simply disappeared. Before he could reflect on the matter, Lily Amain sends numerous voice messages to the boy, saying a rap about how he may have left the collar, but the collar will never leave him. Therefore, Akatsu wonders how the heck this girl got his number, and Lily answers that question by text, explaining that she just took a little peek at the boy, realizing that she can even read his mind, it seems. And as if that wasn't enough, the collar left a permanent tattoo on the demon, and he didn't want to be seen with that nonsense in public, making Lily Amain ruin his dream of using the pool in peace. This was the last straw for the young demon, who decides to end this angel before she causes irreversible damage to hell. Meanwhile, Lily is communicating with someone, informing that today she found a beast-type demon who of course has already been exorcised. So yes, she's being cautious as always. After turning off her computer and admiring the moon, Lily boasts of finding a valuable demon among so many worthless ones, and that's why she can't exorcise him so easily. Once she masters the powers of this enemy, the entire heaven will notice her existence, and she will make everyone regret treating her that way. But for this to be a success, she needs to do exactly what Akatsu wants to do with Lily. At that moment, we go back to the day when Masatora Akatsu is informed by his superior that he will be sent to the human world. As he well knows, hell is suffering severe attacks from heaven, but instead of responding in kind, it seems that the demons are allowing the invasion to happen and practically admitting defeat. But this tragic situation cannot continue, so Akatsu must go up to Earth and find the most talented and charismatic leader the world has ever seen to reconnect the infernal forces under a single flag of an unquestionable figure. And this mission becomes increasingly necessary, and to prove her point, the superior shows a photo posted on the Angels' social media, where one of them humiliates a demon and makes it clear that the hunting season has begun. In another example, an image shows a demon forced to buy drinks with a fake ID, only to be exposed and have to run from the police. Then she explains the case of another devil who was forced to reveal the suspicious history of his browser. These disturbing images break the young devil's heart, who kneels on the ground in front of such horrendous wickedness. And it's far from over, considering that angels are sending more and more henchmen to the human realm. They will likely be formidable enemies for Akatsu, but this mission cannot fail under any circumstances because there is no other chance. In other words, Masatora Akatsu is Hell's last hope. So to accomplish the most difficult and important task in Hell's history, the one decides to gift the demon hero the weapon befitting the significance of this mission: a leather scalp prosthesis. With this in hand, Akatsu must use this artifact to gain the sympathy and trust of humans. However, despite being adequately instructed, Akatsu managed to mess everything up and still feels like a loser every time he looks in the mirror and sees that tattoo the angel placed on his neck. Nevertheless, the demon remains firm and certain that everything will end once he defeats Lily Amain. Until Akatsu unintentionally follows a program called Sweet Husband and Wife and unexpectedly gets an insight into a perfect strategy to defeat his arch-rival. So the next day, the guy goes to school with a confident and stylish pose, and his friends rush to see what's going on with him. Hirona comments that Akatsu's chin is even more pointed than yesterday, and it's unsettling to see. Despite the demon's visual makeover, Lily appears right behind him, attracting even more attention. Before turning to the angel, Akatsu remembers the plan he devised from the TV program. By binge-watching this series and reading numerous male fashion and beauty magazines, the demon learned to become as attractive as possible to seduce Lily Amain and make her bend to his will. Despite all this preparation, the girl was using the same strategy she learned on the TV show. So with her hair properly styled, shiny, and hydrated, Lily tries to charm Akatsu. But he doesn't lag behind and competes in beauty with the angel, who is amazed at the amount of glow that Kid is emitting. With both trying not to fall for each other, the initial duel is considered a draw. Shortly after, during math class, Lily returns an eraser that was on the floor to Akatsu, and a simple touch of his hand was enough for them to ignite again, starting a mortal duel for each other's hearts. Akatsu gains a slight advantage over his opponent, but Amain is smart and anticipates the adversary's move, landing a punch on his body. This was enough to disorient the demon, who falls face first into his chair with a fried brain. Lily boasts of her advantage, as she is 12,000 years more experienced than the young devil. But he doesn't give up and lovingly takes a loose hair strand from Lily's head. With this move, he manages to dodge a knockout hook and counter with a well-placed punch to Amain's stomach. His partial defeat enrages the angel, and signs that this Cold War was only just beginning become increasingly evident. A few hours later, Amain was tasked with taking a stack of papers to the faculty room, and since it was very heavy, the teacher suggested she ask a boy for help. And that was the opportunity to throw another charm at Akatsu, this time grabbing his sleeve. This time, the intensity of the blow was frightening, and with a fake hook, Amain hits the opponent's face with unbelievable force. However, he withstands the impact and rises again, getting close to the opponent and rolling up his sleeves to carry that heavy stack of papers. This trick exposes the muscles and veins of the guy's forearm, causing damage to Lily. Akatsu breaks Amain's guard with an uppercut and manages to hit her face with another punch, making her lose balance as well. The exchange was becoming increasingly balanced, and Lily noticed that this battle would not be as simple as she thought. After this first round of victories and defeats, both competitors are still confident in their success. So the days pass, and the intensity rises even more, with Akatsu unbuttoning his shirt collar and Lily countering with an ice cream attack. Both become more offensive and vulnerable, causing consistent damage to each other. But before declaring a draw, Lily Amain was sure that the final plan could work. Soon both are at the back of the classroom, practically exhausted, and the teacher invites the girl to write the answer to a math question on the board. She goes to the board, obsessed with the idea of bringing down her rival, and after answering the exercises, she returns to her seat, but before that, pretends to stumble and falls on Akatsu's chest. With this move, she puts the enemy in check, staggering from the force of the blow he took. Then Lily uses all of her cuteness to apologize in the sweetest way possible, and that was the opening to break through Akatsu's guard, sway in front of the man and throwing punch after punch at his body. The crowd around gets excited, and everyone seems certain of Amane's victory, but before the final blow, the teacher stops them and asks who they think they are to flirt in the middle of class. Thus, the round ends and no fighter claims victory, and aware of the opponent's strength, both fighters decide on a truce. A few days later, Lily is waiting for Akatsu for a date, and as soon as a hand pokes her from behind, the girl turns around ranting about the guy's hug. But instead of Akatsu, two unknown people with bizarre behavior are right behind the girl. Next week, we'll have more of this anime as soon as the new episode is released, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the like button below to support this video. See you guys.